Hey, and welcome. If you're selling to beauty professionals, you know the struggle, right? You've got this incredible product, you know it can totally change their business, but you just keep hitting that same brick wall. Well, today, we're going to give you the keys to unlock that door and walk right through. Let's jump in.
There it is, the classic. The phrase that just kills a sales call before it even has a chance to breathe. You've done your prep, you're all fired up, and then you hear that little click. The line's dead. It is hands down the biggest hurdle in the beauty industry, and it's just so frustrating.
But what if I told you that phrase isn't a rejection? Not really. What if it's actually an opening? See, today we're going to completely reframe that automatic no. We're going to give you a whole new playbook to flip that switch and turn it into a real, genuine opportunity.
So, to really get this, we've got to step into their world for a second. Let's imagine Sylvia. She's a spa manager, and her day is just chaos. She's dealing with clients, managing her staff, checking inventory, and on top of all of that, her phone rings with sales calls like yours between 15 and 20 times a week. Every single week. Because of that chaos, Sylvia's brain has built this little defense mechanism. We'll call it the objection reflex. The second she hears a voice that sounds like a sales pitch, her brain just goes, nope, unsolicited call, waste of time, and it just shuts down. The key thing to realize here is that her no has nothing to do with your product. It is a pure, simple reflex to protect her most valuable resource, her time.
All right, so we've talked about the psychology. Now let's look at the cold, hard data. Because this is where it gets really, really interesting. When you dig into the numbers behind this reflex, you start to see this massive, hidden opportunity just sitting there.
Check this out. A recent study in Beauty Business Magazine revealed something staggering. 73%, almost three-quarters of beauty pros admitted they've hung up on a sales call where the product might have actually been a great fit for them. And the reason? It's simple. The opening felt pushy, generic, and just a waste of their time.
And here's the real kicker. Of that same group of people who hung up, 64% of them went out and bought a similar product from a competitor within the next 6 months. Think about that. The need was there the whole time. The only thing that changed was the approach. Somebody else came along and got it right.
So, what does this tell us? It tells us that your first 30 seconds are everything. I mean, absolutely everything. That's the entire ballgame. So it's time to throw out the old script and build a brand new one from the ground up. Just look at the night and day difference here. On the left, you've got the typical product monologue. It's all about you and it immediately triggers that objection reflex. But on the right, that's a relational intro. It's respectful, it quickly shows you're relevant, and, crucially, it asks for permission. It makes it about them.
You know, in the beauty industry, how you say something is just as important as what you say. These pros are experts in conversation. They can sniff out a rushed, scripted pitch a mile away. So try this SPA method. Slow down your pace, use little pauses to let your words sink in, and literally smile when you talk. They can hear that warmth and authenticity in your voice.
Okay, so here's the perfect structure for those first 30 seconds. The first 15 are pretty straightforward. Say who you are and establish that you're in their world. But that last 15 seconds, that's the game changer. You pivot the entire conversation to be about them. This isn't a pitch anymore. It's the beginning of a real conversation.
So, you've earned that first 30 seconds. Now what? How do you build on that? Well, this is where you completely change your role. You stop being a seller and you start being a curious, interested partner.
Just take Julie, for example. She's a rep for a professional cosmetics line. She used to lead with all her product features, and her conversion rate was stuck at a painful 2%. Then she started opening her calls with this one simple line. You know what happened? Her conversion rate skyrocketed to 18%. That's the incredible power of just being genuinely curious.
So what kind of questions should you ask? Forget about their budget or what machines they have. Ask questions that get to the heart of their passion and their business. For a beauty institute, ask them what makes them special or what their clients are raving about. It shows you actually care about their world.
And this works for any niche. Calling a hair salon? Same idea. Ask them how they stand out from the competition down the street. Ask what trends they're seeing. This immediately positions you as a peer, someone who gets their market.
Or for a spa, dig a little deeper. Ask about who their clients are or what challenges are keeping them up at night. You see what's happening here? These magic questions get them to open up and tell you exactly what they need without you ever having to push for it.
But let's be real.
Even with this perfect approach, you're still going to hear no sometimes. That's just part of the job. But from this moment on, a no is not the end. If you play it right, you can make sure that no call is ever a waste of time.
Here's your new golden rule. Even if you don't make a sale, you have to leave that conversation with something valuable. And that value can be anything, a piece of intel, a new contact, or just a good reason to call back later.
Think of this as your graceful exit kit. Always start with a genuine thank you for their time. Then you can pivot to asking for a referral, or, my personal favorite, offer them something valuable with zero strings attached, like a future industry report. This keeps that door wide open and makes you a resource, not just another salesperson.
All right, let's pull all these pieces together with this fantastic story about a salesperson named Amelie. She works for an aesthetic laser company, and she made one call that perfectly shows how this anti-sales strategy can lead to some seriously huge wins.
This was her script. Look at these 4 steps. First, she just completely disarms the prospect with that anti-sale hook. It's brilliant. Then she establishes credibility, pivots to their vision, and then she hits them with that powerful emotional question about their why.
And this was the actual word-for-word response from the prospect. You can just hear the defenses coming down, can't you? She was so caught off guard by the approach that she was instantly curious. That one call turned into a deep, passionate conversation, and eventually a €45,000 deal.
So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. If you knew that your next no wasn't actually an ending, but maybe, just maybe, the beginning of your next huge sale, what would you do differently on your very next call? Thanks for watching.